The trust fund is no longer yours, Stephen. That day my father's words hit my adult shoulders like a heavy hammer. 3 years later I sit in the spacious garage at Signal Nest, holding a soldering iron surrounded by neatly arranged parts and repaired equipment. Kevin bends to carry cargo, his movements skilled yet careful, no longer loudly complaining. Father stands at the doorway breathing heavily but can only watch me continue working. $76,000 of remaining funds I used to expand the business. Every spark from the soldering iron, every repaired circuit board, proves this is the life that belongs to me. Grandpa Eli valued my hands-on skill above all. He would hand me small tools, quietly sitting in the garage observing me assemble wind turbines. With every move he would point out screw tightness and wire routing, never intervening, only watching my efficiency. He said, "Some people walk into a room with words, you will build the room yourself." I remembered that saying, moving with more care, checking every connection twice. At the funeral I barely spoke. Father spoke at the podium about family inheritance and values. Kevin patted shoulders lightly. I stood quietly, hands in pockets, toes tapping the floor. As an adult I lived in the converted garage, air mixing mildew and old wood. Every morning I rolled up the door, organized the tool rack, sorted screws, nuts, and wires. Friends posted yacht photos, I checked solder joints and debugged repaired motherboards. Neighbor cooked fish in the microwave at midnight, I put on headphones, continuing to disassemble old devices. During the days waiting for the trust to activate, I silently recorded every expense and income. On my 21st birthday I wore a suit jacket and shirt, walked into the law office holding a notebook. Andrew flipped through documents, slow and precise, as if every page had weight. He reached the page, voice low, "Your father changed the trust beneficiary before you came of age." I reached to straighten papers, the soft friction spreading silence in the room. Father's eyes flickered with a brief sense of victory. He smiled lowly. Kevin's fingers tapped the table, more white-knuckled. I stacked the papers neatly, returned them to the folder, rubbing along the crease as if calculating the future. I quickly handled the remaining stocks and cash. Selling the stocks gave me $76,000. I counted accounts transferred to the newly formed Signal Nest. Every day I disassembled broken phones, cleaned circuits, soldered damaged components, checked every capacitor and wire. Clients came proactively. I tested voltage and current with a multimeter, ensuring every motherboard worked correctly. Kevin helped move toolboxes and organize parts, but clumsy and unfamiliar. I carefully labeled every screw and modular part, printed numbers with a label maker, and stuck them on drawers. At the end of each day I checked the workbench, cleaned the soldering station, ensuring no dust affected precision. 3 months later local reporters came to interview. I arranged repair samples for display. Every device on marked trays, neatly arranged, screws, wires, and capacitors sorted by type. During filming I demonstrated soldering techniques, adjusted tools, movements smooth and precise. After the article was published, clients kept calling to schedule repairs, old electronics arriving one by one. Kevin grew restless, posting on Instagram empty captions full of discontent. I continued organizing inventory, moving devices, sorting electronic parts into drawers. Every day logging work, repair progress, client information, keeping accounts clear. Parents began contacting me, sending messages, calling, trying to reclaim the trust fund. I only replied calmly. Kevin tried proposing to buy the remaining trust assets. I did not respond, instead used the remaining funds to expand Signal Nest. He tried investing in podcasts and meditation programs. Fees and rent quickly burned. Father, furious, came to the garage. I cleaned the workbench, organized tools without a word. He said, "You are using family resources?" I returned the soldering iron neatly. "I am using my own money." Father, eyes widened, breathing heavy, unable to stop reality. I hired Luca to assist with inventory and vendor contacts. Kevin arrived early each day, organizing cables, checking stock, keeping workbench tidy, no longer complaining. Julian brought broken circuit boards. I handed him gloves. Kevin handed screwdrivers. We guided him disassembly, soldering, testing. Garage filled with the sound of screws hitting metal, sparks from soldering, and occasional instructions. Fiona came to review an innovation award I demonstrated repair process, every movement standard and accurate. Kevin stood by, slow and cautious, no longer discussing failed plans. Article published. I held the soldering iron signal nest logo clear, Kevin almost invisible in the background. Community clients arrived bringing broken devices. I carefully inspected, disassembled, tested, soldered. Kevin gradually adapted, working quietly, moving, sorting, cleaning, no longer discussing failed plans. Parents and Kevin once tried to control the trust and my future, but my actions broke them. Grandpa's letters rediscovered. Read, if Steven still gets up early to fix things, he is the one I always valued. I placed the letters on the workbench, continuing to adjust circuit boards and solder equipment. Julian followed, learning, carrying parts, organizing tools, the three of us in sync. Garage filled with screws, wires, soldering, sparks. This is my defined work and home. Parents and Kevin's arrogance and failure powerless, exposed, shame and regret clear. I sat at the workbench, looked at neatly arranged parts and equipment, whispered, this is the life that belongs to me. Kevin lowered his head, carrying parts, movements slow, eyes full of silent shame. Father at the doorway, hand on frame, breathing heavy, only able to watch me continue working. The trust fund transferred, the future mine, efficiency and action the only proof. Every repaired circuit board, every soldering spark, a response to past injustice. Luca busy organizing inventory, I adjusted tools, allocated every part to its place. Julian carefully disassembled phones, I handed screws, gently letting him continue. Weeks later, Kevin arrived on time, managing inventory, no complaints, no attempt to seize control. Community clients brought broken devices, I inspected every motherboard, tested voltage, current. Every soldering completed, I organized wires with tweezers, ensuring no shorts or cold joints. Garage hummed with soldering, light knocks of screws, three working together in order. After media coverage, signal nest reputation spread, clients referred new clients. Kevin moved quietly, carrying cargo, skilled, low profile, no longer discussing failed plans. Parents tried contacting me again, I only texted calmly. Any attempt to reclaim seemed futile against my efficient action. Finally, I sat at the organized workbench, screws, wires, soldering tools neatly arranged. Kevin sorted devices beside me, steady, cautious, no loud complaints. Julian disassembled phones carefully, gloves neat. Garage filled with work sounds, no arguments or complaints. I looked at each repaired device, tapped the bench lightly, nodding in satisfaction. Parents and Kevin's shame and regret exposed completely. This moment, my life and career fully mine, no one can interfere. Signal nest gradually recognized in the community, my name remembered by clients. Kevin carried parts, low head, I continued working steady. Garage filled with screws hitting metal, sparks, soldering tools moving, full of order and power. I smiled slightly, checked inventory, inspected every solder joint, ensuring devices perfect. Tools on workbench neatly arranged, every device tested and calibrated. Parents and Kevin's arrogance and impotence proven invalid, shame and regret exposed. I sat at the workbench, fingers lightly touching soldering station, voice low, this is all mine.